In the shadows of Renaissance Florence, a man sat crafting secrets that would terrify kings and topple empires. While others played checkers, Niccolò Machiavelli mastered chess with human souls as pieces. Most people believe strength comes from muscle and steel. They are fools. True power flows through the mind, through understanding the dark currents that move beneath every human interaction. Today, you will learn what they tried to bury. Today, you become untouchable. The weak will always be prey. But you're about to become the predator. Niccolò Machiavelli wasn't just a political theorist. He was the original decoder of human power dynamics, the first man brave enough to speak the unspeakable truths about control and dominance. While society feeds you fairy tales about fairness and kindness, Machiavelli revealed the brutal mathematics of power. You've been living as prey, following rules that only serve your predators, but not anymore. Today, you ascend from the masses of the manipulated into the elite circle of the manipulators. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I refuse to be anyone's puppet. Like this video if you're ready to claim your rightful power. Subscribe to join this secret brotherhood of the psychologically untouchable and share this with someone ready to escape their mental prison. Law 1. Never reveal your true strength. Here's what the sheep believe. Honesty builds trust. Transparency creates relationships. Showing your cards makes you authentic. They parade their vulnerabilities like badges of honor. They confess their fears, broadcast their limitations, announce their next moves to the world. And then they wonder why they're perpetually outmaneuvered, consistently disappointed, eternally surprised when others exploit their openness. Machiavelli understood a darker truth. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Your true power lies not in what you reveal, but in what you conceal. The moment you expose your full capacity, you hand your enemies the blueprint to your destruction. Smart generals never deploy all their troops. Wise poker players never show their hand. Masters never reveal their mastery until the final, devastating moment. Consider the CEO who lets his board think he's struggling with a decision, while already knowing his exact strategy 3 moves ahead. Or the negotiator who appears uncertain about her position while possessing ironclad leverage she hasn't revealed. They understand that perceived vulnerability is often the sharpest weapon in your arsenal. Your practical application starts now. Stop announcing your plans on social media. Stop confessing your insecurities to casual acquaintances. Stop revealing your financial situation, your relationship status, your career ambitions to people who haven't earned that intelligence. Keep your training secret. Keep your studying private. Keep your preparation invisible. Let them discover your capabilities only when it's too late for them to counter. The weak broadcast everything. The strong reveal nothing. Begin practicing strategic silence today. Your mystery is your armor, your ambiguity, your advantage. Law 2. Master the art of strategic withdrawal. Society has programmed you with a lie. Always fight back immediately, never back down. Show strength through constant confrontation. This reactive mindset has destroyed more potentially powerful people than any external enemy ever could. You've been conditioned to believe that retreat equals defeat, that stepping back signals weakness, that any form of withdrawal is surrender. This is precisely what keeps you trapped in other people's games, fighting battles on their terms, in their timing, under their conditions. Machiavelli observed, "He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner effects his ruin than his preservation." The masses rush into every conflict like angry bulls seeing red. You will learn to move like a chess master, seeing 10 moves ahead. True power lies in choosing when to engage and when to disappear. Watch how the most successful people handle attacks. They vanish. They don't argue on social media. They don't defend themselves in petty disputes. They don't waste energy on battles that don't advance their position. When someone tries to drag them into drama, they simply aren't there. They've retreated to higher ground where the noise can't reach them. Think of the executive who doesn't respond to office gossip, but quietly builds alliances with decision-makers. Consider the entrepreneur who ignores critics while focusing on revenue growth. They understand that attention is finite, energy is precious, and engaging with every provocation is the fastest way to mediocrity. Your new protocol. When someone attacks you verbally, disappear for 24 hours. Don't defend, don't explain, don't engage. Let them exhaust their ammunition firing at shadows. When you return, act as if nothing happened. This isn't avoidance, it's strategic positioning. You're not running from the fight, you're choosing the battlefield. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I fight only battles I choose to win. The desperate react instantly. The powerful respond when ready. Law 3. Reflect their energy back, amplified. Here's the trap that catches 90% of people. They believe they must be consistent, authentic, and genuine in every interaction. They think showing up as the same person in every situation demonstrates integrity. This naive approach makes them predictable, exploitable, and ultimately powerless. They bring the same energy to a boardroom that they bring to a coffee shop, the same demeanor to a negotiation that they bring to a casual conversation. Machiavelli revealed the superior strategy. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. People don't respond to who you actually are. They respond to the energy you reflect back to them. The master understands that human interaction is fundamentally about energy exchange, and the person who controls the energy controls the outcome. This is why certain people seem to have an almost supernatural ability to get what they want from anyone. They don't have one fixed personality. They have an arsenal of personas, each perfectly calibrated to the person they're facing. When dealing with an aggressive personality, they become slightly more aggressive. When facing someone insecure, they project confidence. When encountering arrogance, they mirror just enough superiority to earn respect without triggering defensiveness. Watch how the most successful salespeople operate. They don't pitch the same way to every client. They read the room, assess the dominant energy, then reflect it back with strategic amplification. The anxious client gets calm reassurance. The decisive client gets quick, confident proposals. The analytical client gets detailed breakdowns. They become the perfect mirror, showing each person exactly what they need to see. Your implementation starts immediately. Before entering any important interaction, spend 60 seconds. Is reading the other person's energy. Are they high energy or low energy? Formal or casual? Direct or indirect? Then adjust your frequency to match theirs, but with slightly more intensity. Don't become them. Become their ideal version of themselves. This isn't manipulation, it's psychological leadership. You're not deceiving them, you're speaking their emotional language fluently. The amateurs stay rigid. The professionals stay fluid. Master energy reflection, and you master human psychology itself. Law 4. Control the frame. Control the game. The masses live their entire lives inside other people's frames. They accept the premises, adopt the assumptions, and play by rules they never agreed to create. They walk into conversations already defeated because they've surrendered the most important battleground before the first word is spoken. They think power comes from having better arguments, stronger evidence, or more compelling logic. They're fighting with swords while their opponents wield the very reality around them. Here's what Machiavelli understood that escapes the common mind. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. But even more powerful than being feared is being the one who defines what fear means. what love means, what winning and losing mean. The person who controls the frame doesn't just win the argument, they make the argument itself irrelevant. Frame control is reality control. When someone says, "We need to discuss your performance," they've set a frame where your value is in question. The weak accept this frame and start defending. The powerful reframe, "I'm glad you want to discuss how we can optimize results." Same conversation, completely different power dynamic. One frame makes you the defendant, the other makes you the consultant. Consider how master negotiators operate. They never argue about price. They reframe the conversation around value, investment, and return. They don't debate terms. They establish contexts where their terms become the obvious choice. A real estate agent doesn't say, "This house is expensive." They say, "This is an investment in your family's future." Same numbers, entirely different psychological landscape. Your frame control training begins with language precision. Stop using their words to describe your situation. Stop accepting their definitions of success, failure, normal, or appropriate. When someone tries to put you on the defensive, don't defend, redefine. When they say you're being difficult, reframe it as being thorough. When they call you demanding, reframe it as having standards. Practice this ruthlessly. In every interaction, identify who set the initial frame. If it wasn't you, immediately work to shift it. Don't argue within their framework. Create your own framework and invite them to step inside it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I define my own reality. The controlled live in other people's frames. The controllers build their own. Law 5. Use absence as your greatest presence. Society has convinced you that visibility equals power, that constant availability demonstrates value, that being everywhere at once makes you indispensable. This is the thinking of servants and employees, not masters and leaders. You've been programmed to believe that if you're not constantly responding, constantly present, constantly accessible, you'll lose opportunities, relationships, and respect. This needy mindset has turned you into a commodity, always on sale, always desperate for the next buyer. Machiavelli observed a profound truth that modern psychology has validated. The more you are seen, the more common you become. Scarcity creates value. Mystery generates desire. Your constant availability doesn't make you valuable. It makes you predictable, forgettable, and ultimately dispensable. The people who truly command respect and attention are those who understand the psychological power of strategic absence. Think about the most intriguing people you know. They don't answer every text immediately. They don't attend every meeting. They don't say yes to every invitation. Their presence feels like a gift because it's not guaranteed. When they speak, people listen. Not because of what they say, but because they don't waste words. When they appear, energy shifts. Not because they demand attention, but because they've trained people to value their attention. Consider the consultant who doesn't respond to emails instantly, but delivers exceptional work. The leader who speaks only when they have something meaningful to contribute. The entrepreneur who isn't available for every call, but makes each interaction count. They understand that your attention is the most valuable currency you possess, and giving it away freely devalues everything you touch. Your absence strategy begins now. Create systematic unavailability. Don't respond to non-urgent messages for at least 4 hours. Don't accept every meeting request. Don't fill every silence in conversations. Let people wonder what you're thinking, what you're working on, where your focus is directed. This isn't playing hard to get. It's being genuinely selective about where you invest your finite psychological resources. When you do appear, when you do speak, when you do engage, the impact is magnified because it's rare. Your words carry weight because you don't waste them. Your presence commands attention because it can't be taken for granted. The desperate are always available. The powerful are strategically absent. Master the art of calculated distance, and watch how people begin treating your attention like the precious resource it actually is. Law 6. Make others feel they chose your path. Here's the illusion that destroys most attempts at influence. People think power means forcing others to do what you want. They believe in direct commands, obvious manipulation, and brute force persuasion. They push, they demand, they threaten, they cajole. And then they wonder why people resist them, resent them, and work against them behind closed doors. They've confused dominance with leadership, control with influence, fear with respect. The sophisticated understanding that Machiavelli pioneered goes deeper. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. True power isn't making people do what you want, it's making them want what you want. It's creating conditions where your desired outcome becomes their obvious choice, their brilliant idea, their natural conclusion. The master puppeteer is invisible. The audience believes the puppet is dancing by itself. This is why the most influential people rarely give direct orders. Instead, they plant seeds of thought, create environments that favor certain decisions, and guide conversations toward inevitable conclusions. They don't tell people what to think. They create thinking patterns that lead people exactly where they intended. The person feels autonomous, intelligent, and decisive, while unconsciously following a carefully constructed path. Watch how master salespeople operate. They don't pitch products. They diagnose problems and let customers discover solutions. Have you considered what might happen if you don't address this issue? They don't pressure. They create urgency through understanding. Other clients in similar situations have found this approach transformative. They make the customer feel like the smart one, the insightful one, the one who figured it out. Your implementation requires surgical precision. Stop telling people what to do. Start asking questions that guide their thinking. Instead of, "You should exercise more," try, "What do you think would happen if you felt 20% more energetic?" Instead of, "This project needs to be done differently," ask, "What obstacles are preventing us from achieving optimal results here?" Let them arrive at your conclusion through their own mental process. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I influence through insight, not force. The amateurs command compliance. The masters inspire conviction, guide the thinking, and the actions follow naturally. Law 7. Command respect. Through calculated unpredictability, the world has taught you a dangerous fiction, that being nice, consistent, and predictable makes people comfortable around you, and comfortable people become loyal allies. This is the philosophy of the perpetually overlooked, the chronically underestimated, and the professionally stagnant. You've been conditioned to believe that smooth predictability equals trustworthiness, that never rocking the boat demonstrates reliability, that being the same person in every situation shows authenticity. But Machiavelli understood something that cuts through these pleasant delusions. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. However, the highest form of fear isn't physical terror, it's psychological uncertainty. It's never knowing exactly what you're thinking, what you might do next, or how you might respond to any given situation. Predictable people are forgettable people. Controllable people are disposable people. The most memorable leaders in history shared one trait. You never knew what they would do next, but you always knew it would be purposeful. They weren't chaotic. They were strategically inconsistent. They could be charming in the morning and coldly analytical in the afternoon. They might reward exceptional performance lavishly one day and demand higher standards the next. This wasn't mood swings. This was psychological architecture designed to keep people mentally engaged and emotionally alert. Consider the entrepreneur who sometimes responds to emails within minutes and sometimes takes 3 days, but always delivers exceptional results. The manager who can laugh at mistakes during brainstorming sessions but holds people ruthlessly accountable during execution phases. The negotiator who might accept a lowball offer immediately or walk away from a generous one if it doesn't align with their strategic vision. They keep people guessing, thinking, and most importantly, respecting their unpredictable intelligence. Your unpredictability protocol starts with breaking your own patterns. If you always say yes to requests, start occasionally saying no without extensive explanation. If you typically respond emotionally, sometimes respond with pure logic. If you usually explain your decisions, sometimes act on intuition and let others figure out your reasoning. This isn't random behavior. It's strategic variability that prevents people from taking you for granted. The key is maintaining competence within unpredictability. People should never know how you'll react, but they should always know you'll react intelligently. Your unpredictability should intrigue them, not concern them. They should think, I'm not sure what they'll do next, but I know it will be smart. The predictable are ignored. The unpredictable are remembered. Master strategic inconsistency, and watch how people start paying attention to your every move. Law 8. Never need anyone more than they need you. This is where most people surrender their power forever, in the desperate mathematics of neediness. They believe that showing how much they need others demonstrates love, loyalty, and commitment. They think that revealing their dependence creates bonds, that exposing their vulnerabilities builds intimacy, that confessing their limitations earns understanding. This is the thinking that creates slaves, not masters. This is the mentality that builds followers, not leaders. Machiavelli saw through to the brutal core of human psychology. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. But before you can command others, you must command yourself. Before you can be needed, you must need no one. Before you can inspire dependence, you must achieve independence so complete that your presence in anyone's life feels like a gift they haven't earned, not a need they can exploit. The moment someone senses you need them more than they need you, the power dynamic shifts permanently. They stop trying to impress you and start expecting you to impress them. They stop worrying about losing you and start wondering what they can get from you. They stop seeing you as an equal and start treating you as a resource. This is why desperate people repel the very things they desperately want. Desperation is the most unattractive force in human psychology. Look at how the most successful people operate in relationships, business, and social situations. They bring value but don't chase approval. They offer opportunities but don't beg for participation. They create connections but don't cling to outcomes. When someone doesn't appreciate what they bring, they simply redirect their energy towards someone who does. This isn't coldness, it's psychological sovereignty. Your sovereignty training demands radical self-sufficiency. Build skills that make you valuable to others without making others necessary to you. Develop interests that fulfill you independently. Create income streams that don't depend on any single person's approval. Cultivate emotional stability that doesn't require external validation. The goal isn't isolation. It's strength from a position of choice, not need. Practice this immediately. Stop asking for things you could figure out yourself. Stop seeking permission for decisions you have the authority to make. Stop explaining your choices to people who don't fund your life. Stop apologizing for taking up space, having opinions, or pursuing your objectives. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am complete, with or without anyone else. The needy are controlled by their dependencies. The sovereign control their own destiny. When you need no one, everyone wants to be needed by you. The transformation complete. You now possess what Machiavelli spent his lifetime studying. The 8 immutable laws of psychological dominance. Never reveal your true strength. Mystery is your armor. Master strategic withdrawal. Choose your battles. Don't let battles choose you. Reflect their energy back amplified. Become the mirror that controls the reflection. Control the frame. Define reality before reality defines you. Use absence as presence. Scarcity creates value. Availability destroys it. Make others feel they chose your path. Guide thinking, and actions follow naturally. Command respect through unpredictability. The predictable are ignored, the unpredictable are remembered. Never need anyone more than they need you. Sovereignty is the ultimate power. Look at yourself 6 months from now. You walk into rooms differently. You speak with the quiet confidence of someone who knows secrets others don't. People listen when you talk because you don't waste words. They respect you because they can't predict you. They need you because you don't need them. You've become psychologically untouchable, strategically invisible, and practically unstoppable. But here's your binary choice, and it's the only choice that matters. You can close this video and return to being manipulated, controlled, and overlooked by people who understand these laws better than you do. Or you can implement every single principle we've discussed and join the small percentage of people who shape reality instead of being shaped by it. This isn't theory. This isn't philosophy. This is applied psychology that has determined the rise and fall of empires, the success and failure of leaders, the power and powerlessness of individuals for over 500 years. The weak will dismiss this as too dark, too manipulative, too intense. The strong will recognize it as too valuable to ignore. Like this video, if you're ready to step into psychological mastery. Comment your final affirmation. I choose power over comfort. Share this with someone ready to escape mental slavery. Subscribe to continue your initiation into the psychological elite, because this is just the beginning of what you need to know. The weak react to life, the strong respond to circumstances, but the masters, they don't need to do either. They create the circumstances that others react to. Which one will you choose to become?